Hello. That's not my actual voice. Guys, I think this dip is almost over. I'm starting to get a lot more bullish now. And I know this is like the fourth or whatever time we've talked about this little correction. But look, guys, it's important. We got to talk about this. A lot of people want to know, hey, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? What should I buy? What should I sell? Yada, yada, yada. So we got to talk about it. It's important. Let's jump in. Now, before you freak out at me, guys, I know there's all these lines and colors everywhere, and this looks crazy, but don't worry. As always, I'm going to break this down for you, and I'm going to make it really, really easy to understand. And as always, none of this is financial advice. I am crypto nerd, not crypto financial advisor. So, as always, we're going to kick it off with looking at Bitcoin. So if we just take a look at Bitcoin's chart, you can see that we're kind of getting a little bit of a breakdown here, as you know. So not only are we at this just regular support line, we are also at this critical fib line, and we are also at the 50-day EMA. Now, this just means that there's a lot of support here, and there's good chance we bounce from here, actually. If we take a look at the RSI, we can see that before it was really, really overbought. It was over the 70 line. It was actually, it went over the 80 line even, which just means that it's overbought and it's a good time to sell. And if it's under this red line, that means it's a good time to buy. Very, very simply. And right now we're about at this 50 line. So it could go either way, but it's really, really cooled off. It was really, really overheated at this point, and now it's really cooled off. If we take a look at this MACD, you can see a very similar thing. Right, you can see that we used to be way up here. We were totally overbought. It had to come down back to baseline here. And it is definitely on its way. You can see that we have cooled off a lot, which is looking really good. However, I gotta be honest, I do think a bounce here is possible. But I also could absolutely foresee us coming down under this zero line, because on the MACD, typically, you don't really bounce off the zero line. Typically, you go under it. And that's when you get this bullish crossover when the MACD line crosses over the signal line. And that means it's a good time to buy. What that means is that we may have a little bit more to go. I need to make you aware of an extremely useful tool. We have an AI trading assistant in our Discord that is being custom developed and is about to go through a major, major upgrade. So check this out. This is the first of many upgrades. You can do /info and then any coin you want. I'll just do Bitcoin to keep it simple. And you get this info panel about everything you need to know about this coin. First, you get a description about it. So you actually know what you're buying now. So you can use this on like coins that you hear other influencers say. So you can actually know what you're buying. You get some details about it, which can be very, very helpful in informing your decision. And we have a built-in tokenomics rating system. So you get a rate. This gets a rating of excellent, and it gets a score of 94 out of 100. Bitcoin has extremely healthy tokenomics, virtually no selling pressure affecting this coin. And again, this works with any coin. We have tons of awesome new updates coming. We're going to have automatic daily market reports that are going to basically evaluate the market and tell you what to do. And we also have a signals channel that's going to basically look at all these different indicators and update you whether, hey, this indicator just fired, this indicator just fired, and so on. So definitely join the Discord. Link is in the description. Highly, highly recommend. Psst, almost forgot to say, subscribe and like this video. From what I'm seeing, maybe we've got a little bit more to go. If we take a look at the RSI again, we are at this 50 line, but it's possible we come down and test this red line down here at 30. And that also indicates that we may have a little bit more to go. Obviously, the actual price of Bitcoin suggests, okay, we either bounce here or we drop down a little bit. And because it's looking like we may drop down a little bit more, I think our next price target is going to be at around 86K. And maybe we wick under 84K. It's even possible we come all the way down and touch this fib line at 81K roughly, 80 to 81K. We get this like really nasty flush. I think that is absolutely possible. The way that I'm playing this is that I'm not like going all in or anything, or I'm not staying fully on the sidelines. I'm putting a little bit in, like, a decent amount in. And if we bounce, great. That's totally possible. And if we actually lose these key strong support levels, then I can see us coming down to probably 86. Most likely we bounce from there. If not, 81. And most likely we bounce from there. If we don't bounce from 81, then we're looking at probably a longer chop. But I really don't expect that to happen, just because this market has really, ever since Bitcoin like launched after Trump's win, the market's really in full swing by now. So I don't expect these long chops like we had in the middle of 2024. I kind of expect more volatility. Now, when do I think that this actual correction will be over by, if you want actual specific timing? Well, quite honestly, I think that Trump's win absolutely kicked off all this euphoria. That was around here. And the market's been doing great. And that was already like almost 2 months ago now. So now we're really, really cooling off. And quite honestly, I could absolutely see us either dipping or chopping until Trump's inauguration on January 20th. I kind of think the market's waiting maybe for another major event. And I can absolutely see more chop for another 3 weeks. I think that's completely reasonable, where maybe we dip a little bit, maybe we chop a little bit until January 20th. And that's when I expect this correction to be fully over by, assuming we don't just bounce from here. And even if we chop from here and don't actually lose this 90K support level, I see us continuing up, especially after Trump is in office and then he starts, talking very positively about crypto. He can start actually passing positive crypto regulation and so on. So that is my current outlook. Just quickly in summary, I think it is possible that we do bounce here, but I think maybe slightly more likely is that we do get this little bit of a last flush, so that these indicators can be fully cooled off. We can really touch these lower levels to fully cool off, shake out some weak hands, scare some people out of the market, and then we continue upward. And I think some people are saying that we're at the top. We're just going straight down from now. Bitcoin peaked at 108. I think that's completely wrong. Many models say that we're going way higher. I'm not going to get into that right now because we've done it before, but yeah. Okay, and that's Bitcoin. And obviously when Bitcoin has last flush, that means altcoins are going to get absolutely rinsed. So let's take a look at some total markets. And this looks at the entire market cap of all of crypto, this chart. And you're going to notice a very similar pattern. If we take a look at the RSI, we have really cooled off because we used to be way up here, which was bad. And this white line has come down, and we're at this 50 line, and we may come down a little bit further, but we're doing much better at this halfway mark or being in the middle rather than at the very, very top. Same thing with the MACD. We were way overbought, right? Because we were way overextended over this baseline right here, and we have since come down, and we're totally cooling off again. Really good sign. And we're kind of in a similar position here for the global market cap, which is, again, the market cap of every single cryptocurrency combined. We're seeing that we are at this 50-day EMA, this strong support line. If we do lose this, like we may in this final flush, if we do lose this, I can see us coming down to, and again, this doesn't really mean a whole lot, but 3 trillion total market cap. And if we lose that, 2.9 trillion. It's not as useful looking at specific numbers for these global market caps because that doesn't tell you anything about coin-specific stuff, but just so you have an idea, that's something that you can know. So we may get a little bit of a dip here, and it does look like it is way more cooled off than it was, but we may have a last flush. If we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, which is the chart that measures whether Bitcoin is going to outperform altcoins or altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin, and this can give you insight into what you should be holding. It did make a lower high. However, if we zoom in a little bit, and that's usually a sign that Bitcoin is going to start outperforming again. So we had this like little bit of a drop here, and that just means altcoins had a really strong rally. If you're an altcoin holder, you felt that. And since then, we've kind of been assuming we break down from here, that's a really, really good look for altcoins. But if we keep grinding up, then it's not so clear for altcoins. And just so you know, altcoin season generally happens the year after the Bitcoin halving. So we're not even expecting that at all this year. And if it's going to start, it'll start next year, possibly as early as January, but who knows? Historically, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, historically, alt season begins when we're at like these crazy levels where Bitcoin has like 70% market dominance. And right now we peaked at 60% market dominance. So it's unclear whether it's time for altcoins to shine or not, but just going purely based off of history and not taking, any current or contemporary issues into account, then Bitcoin will probably continue to outperform altcoins for a little bit of a while. Maybe Bitcoin will have this next leg after this flush, then Bitcoin has this strong rally up. Maybe it'll hit 70% dominance, and then altcoins will greatly outperform Bitcoin. So from what it looks like, and of course we can take a look at these other charts and they're saying something similar. Bitcoin had this crazy drop in Bitcoin dominance, which means altcoins did really, really great. And then it's since been recovering quite strongly. It's a little unclear if you take a look at these two lines. It looks like maybe the MACD line wants to go back down possibly, and which means that altcoins are going to rally really, really hard, but it's not so clear. So basically what I'm saying is that it's not super clear whether Bitcoin or altcoins are going to do great for the foreseeable future, but it does look like at some point alt season will happen because we have a pretty high Bitcoin dominance. We don't have that much more to go until historically alt season begins. So that is looking a little unclear, but okay. If we take a look at Ethereum is looking weak. It is now crossing under the 0 line on the MACD. It's totally cooled off. And it's already almost basically at its 100-day EMA. It already lost its main support level here. Now it's flipped resistance at about 3,500. So most likely I can see this honestly going to 3,000 to 3,100 again during this next flush. So if you're looking to pick up more Ethereum, 3,000 to 3,100 is your ideal zone to pick that up. This does look a little bit more cooled off than Bitcoin, I gotta say. So it looks like Bitcoin might get hurt more than Ethereum. Let's take a look at Solana. Solana is definitely looking more cooled off than the other coins. Check this out. These lines are way under this 0 line. Take a look at where these lines are. These are way down here. So Solana is basically cooled off at this point. It had this crazy rally from whatever it was, 175 to 250, really, really strong rally, and that it was way overbought. But since then, it's really cooled off. It's been cooling off for longer than these other coins. If we take a look at just its price action, we can see it even almost touched the 200 EMA at about 175. And that was a really good pickup price. Honestly, I think Solana is at a good price now. If we get this next flush, I don't expect it to be very, very severe. Probably will drop from 186 to 175. And if somehow Solana loses that, most likely bounce from 163. So I don't know if that'll happen. I think Solana is already looking, honestly, oversold based on this. So Solana, and if I were looking to pick up Solana, I would be perfectly happy with picking it up now and just stomaching the volatility. So even if it drops, I don't really care because I feel like I'm getting it at a good price. I do one-on-one calls on my website. So if you want to talk about your coin specifically, definitely sign up for that if that sounds like something you're interested in. And I also have a deal with Gemini, the popular exchange, that if you sign up and create an account using my link in the description, and trade $100, you get $10 deposited into your account for free. So, do that. Takes a few minutes. You get 10 free dollars and it supports me. So I think you should do it.